So let's look at the perimeter and area of rectangles and squares. Here we have a rectangle. Notice that the opposite sides are parallel and that each vertex or corner is at 90 degrees. Now a square is a special type of rectangle. All of the four sides are equal. Fill in the definition for perimeter, the distance around the outside of a shape. The formula for finding the perimeter of a rectangle would be to add all of the sides, 2 lengths plus 2 widths, or 2 times L plus 2 times W. One way to remember that perimeter is the distance around the outside is like thinking about a pig pen, where you're needing a fence to go around the outside of that shape. P for pig pen, P for perimeter. And the label will always be just a plain label, like feet or meters. When finding the area of a rectangle or a square, you're finding the amount of square units that take up the space inside the figure. The formula for area is to take the length times the width. Think of an area rug. You need to cover the entire surface. Painting a wall, putting carpet on your floor, or buying enough grass seed to cover your yard are examples for area. And the label will always be squared, such as feet squared or feet to the second power. Since finding perimeter is finding the distance around the outside of the shape, you're going to add all four sides up. You can take and add 11 plus 11 plus the widths, 3 2/10 plus 3 2/10. Make sure that you line up all the place values to get the perimeter. Another way to find perimeter of the same rectangle would be to multiply 11 by 2, since there are 2 lengths. So 2 times 11 plus 2 times the widths, 3 2/10. Add those two together to get 28 4/10 meters. Remember, the label is plain. And again, when finding perimeter, you're finding the distance around the outside of the rectangle, like building a fence. Now you find the perimeter of this rectangle. Remember, you can use the formula 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Remember to pause the video. Okay, check and see how you did. Did you take 2 times the length of 15 to get 30, and 2 times the width of 3 1/10 to get 6 2/10? Add those two together to get your perimeter, 36 2/10 meters. Remember, it's a plain label because it's a distance around the outside. Notice in this one we have a very special rectangle, a square. All four sides are the same length, 4 2/10. Pause the video and find the perimeter of this square. Okay, check your progress. Since all four sides are the same length, you're adding 4 2/10 4 times. So you can just multiply 4 times 4 2/10 to get 16 8/10. Remember that the label is going to be plain. Here we have it as units. Remember, we're finding the distance around the outside, like a fence. Let's take a look now at finding the area of a rectangle. For area, we're finding the amount of square units that fit inside the figure. So we could count up individually all of these little squares, or we can use the formula area equals length times width. So we can count the length and find that it is 8 units long by 4 units wide. So we're going to multiply 8 times 4 to get 32 units squared, or square units. And it makes sense that we're squaring it because we're counting all the little squares inside the rectangle. Okay, you do this one. Find the area, which is length times width, of this rectangle. Remember to pause the video. Okay, check your work. You would count to find the length is 9 and the width is 3. Length times width, and we get 27 units squared, or 27 square units. Now find the area of this square. Remember to pause the video. Since you're finding the area of a square and all sides are the same length, you can just call it side times side, or s to the second power. 7 times 7 is 7 squared, which is 49. And because this is area, we're counting all the little squares inside, so our label is meters squared, or square meters. Okay, pause the video and find the area of this rectangle. Since you're finding area, it's length times width, or 9 and 4/10 times 2 and 3/10. Here I started the multiplying. I took 3 times the top. Don't forget your filler 0 and take 2 times the top. Then add, and last, where should the decimal go? Since there are 2 decimal places, 2 numbers behind the decimals inside the problem, 1, 2, then we are going to move over 2 decimal places, so there are also 2 places behind the decimal for 27 and 62/100 meters squared. A common mistake when finding perimeter and area is to get the two confused with each other. So remember, your formula for perimeter is to add all the sides or multiply the two lengths and add to the product of 2 times the width. And for perimeter, your label is going to be plane. For example, plane feet. But area, you're counting all the little squares inside, so we have length times width. Here it'd be 2 times the 3. So your label is going to be squared, units squared, or square units.